First of all, I would love to welcome my favorite person in Kotak, my ex-boss, colleague, friend, and somebody whom I have looked up to during my career, who's had a fantastic innings in Kotak and still has the energy of a 22-year-old. And I'm pretty sure she will go and do whatever she wants to do going forward with the same vigor and zeal that she's always had over the last 30 years that I've known her. Meet my guest, Shanti Ekambaram, Joint Managing Director, Kotak Mahindra Bank. For me, she's still Shanti the friend, Shanti the boss. Welcome,
Hi,
Shanti.
Srini.
Hi.
Very happy to be here talking to you.
Shanti, look, this is, we have known each other for 30 years. And this is not like a formal podcast or anything like that. This is a chat that I'm going to have because I want the world to know who is Shanti first.
Wow.
Because a lot of people, know Shanti, Managing Director of the bank, retail banking head, various identities that you may have. But what I want to talk and the world to know is who is Shanti the individual. So let me first ask you the question. You're a chartered accountant. And as a chartered accountant, to be in the position that you have risen to has been commendable, and it's an example for a lot of other chartered accountants. In a world where even today, chartered accountants don't get the same treatment as management graduates. You had a whole army of management graduates working for you. What made you first get into a chartered accountancy?
So it's like this, Srini. My life has been very interesting in the sense that many of the choices I made came to me rather than me planning my career in a very big way. To start with, the only thing I can tell you is that when I was in standard 11, we used to have these aptitude tests. And my teacher told me, you have aptitude for engineering, you must go for engineering. I said, no, I want to go for financial services. I didn't know what the hell
Visionary.
it meant. It was early 80s. I had no clue what it meant, okay? And I just stood up one day and said it. And my teacher said, no. And she called my parents and said, please put this girl in engineering. I protested. I was always a rebel.
South Indian parents.
And,
you have to do either engineering or medicine, otherwise you're a failure.
Correct. So I was a failure and decided to go to commerce, came to Mumbai and went to Sydenham College. Thereafter, the option was MBA or CA. And I did apply to the three, A, B, C, and I didn't get it. And I didn't want to apply to the rest. So I said I chose the best CA firm and I went there. So that's how I became a CA. And I had a wonderful time because I was in one of the best firms, A.F. Ferguson, and I spent most of the time at Tata's, Mahindra, so I had a very cushy life. When I finished my final exams, a friend of mine called me and said, I have an interview call from the Bank of Nova Scotia. And I have already got a job. This is 6 months, it's come after that. You have to anyway attend interviews, go practice. So I went for the interview without my final results to practice. It was a Canadian guy who was a CEO, and we had such a wonderful 1 hour. The end of it, he said, come join the bank tomorrow. I said, what? He said, yeah. I said, I have to pass. He said, if you fail, I'll give you a month to attend exams again. And I joined the following Monday. And that's how my career started. And I went from credit analyst to relationship manager. And in the second year, I bumped into Uday Kotak.
We'll come to that in a moment.
Yes.
But
so this is how the decision of where and how I became a chartered accountant. I got into banking, everything by some other force, but not me planning.
Destiny, Shanti, apart from destiny, competence. The very fact that somebody who was not a qualified chartered accountant and that Canadian saw the future potential in you and picked you and gave you the job offer tells you that at a very, very young age you were able to cause a fantastic impression on people, which you have been doing right through for the last 30 years.
So
and
I
I've
had
been in so many meetings with you, and I've seen people looking at you as you talk. I can see the admiration building in their face. We'll come to one of that. But at that young age, getting into first from A.F. Ferguson's to a multinational bank, and I remember in those days, getting a job in a foreign bank it is like achieving the nirvana. And what was it like to work in a foreign bank at such a young age when a lot of your, I guess, friends and peers, this is what they would have been aspiring to do, and you're not even a chartered accountant at that stage?
So it's like this, Srini, when Aziz Haq, his name was, told me, come join me, and I came on. I didn't know what to expect because I had no clue what banking was. But I liked the office. nice carpet, silence, music, pin drop silence. I had never seen a corporate life, right? I had seen the house of Tatas and Mahindras. They're very different in those days. But I think as I think back, what are the two things that helped me? And I think perhaps some of them are God-given, some of them are the way I was brought up. First and foremost, I was always a very confident person and a rebel right from young. Even when my decision to come to Mumbai, my parents were not here, they were in Ahmedabad. But I wanted to do my education in the best commerce college in the country at that time, that was Sydenham. And I came on my own. I didn't allow my dad to come, took admission on my own, fixed a hostel on my own. And my worried parents, my dad took a transfer and came. So I think confidence is something, either my upbringing or it's a gift. And second is communications. So I think I used both when I joined the bank. And I wouldn't stand for nonsense even at that young age. I had my boss change the very first year, by the way. But, so some of those things you just have to be on the ground and you have to have an honesty, integrity and be open about it. I can tell you I was thrilled because my other fellow people got jobs that were not necessarily so exciting. I can tell you that.
No, it's commendable because even today when you come from non-metro cities, you are an individual is thought to be a sort of a small town person. But 30 years ago to do that and do it on your own, I can fully believe that you are a rebel. And I shall not reveal all the secrets on why you are a rebel over the last 30 years that I am aware, but we will talk about some of those things. So 2.5 years in a foreign bank.
3.5 years.
And then how did this whole jump to a unknown startup company happen and why?
So very interesting. So at that time, Kotak Mahindra Finance Limited was in bill discounting. And Uday used to personally meet bankers because he wanted lines of credit. It was a very simple model. Buy bills from all these suppliers who have acceptances from all the large corporate and then sell it to the foreign banks and make about 10-12% spread in between. Oops, I said something that I shouldn't have. But that was the kind of business model, right? So, and I liked what I saw. Young man, very energetic, had a lot of, hunger in his eyes. And as far as we were concerned, our risk was not on him. It was really on the companies accepting the bill of exchange, a Tata, Mahindra, which was very easy to take. So we very quickly ramped up the lines. And every morning for almost a year and a half, I talked to him to haggle for 5 paisa. We used to haggle on rates and he used to personally
And being the Guju Ben that you are and the Guju boy that he was.
That's right.
It would have been a great Guju conversation on handling for 5 paisa.
Okay, so 5 paisa, we used to get stuck from 20 paisa, 5 paisa, 10 paisa and we used to like it. What happened was we really grew the business. At one stage, my boss was worried. He says, we are giving so much lines. Are you sure? I said, the risk is not on Kotak. The risk is on the companies who are accepting the bills. Chill. So at that 3.5 years, I was telling my boss, chill, don't worry. But then the bank was very small and I was ambitious. So I got an offer from Deutsche and Standard Chartered. And I went to there for advice, saying, you meet all banks. Tell me, should I join Deutsche or Standard Chartered? And he said, join Kotak. I said, Kotak? What, you're a bank? He said, no, we are an NBFC. I almost felt like saying that's a 4-letter word of a different kind. But then I had seen the office and I said, you don't have a 4th seat, you're 1 desk, 3 chairs. So he says, no, I'm building an office. And he immediately took me to Nariman Bhavan where the office was being built. And he said, none of the seats are taken, choose which seat you want. Mm-hmm. And that was in about October. And it took me till February to take a decision because I joined, because you're in a foreign bank and then you're a South Indian.
It's a very tough decision, right?
You're a South Indian. Yeah. Your family says you're mad, wanting to go from foreign bank to an NBFC. What is NBFC? Nobody knew. It was early 90s, 90, 91. I met Uday 90 and 91 I joined Kotak. But ultimately something made me take the decision and that something was, there's so much hunger, there's so much ambition. I'm ambitious. Either I will make it, and if I don't like it, if I'm good, I'll always get a job in the market. Let me take the risk. And I must say this classic, I went with a list of demands. Mm-hmm. And finally, I got nothing. So even in those days, Uday was smarter than anybody else. And I got nothing and I joined at the same salary. Sure. Idiot that I was.
No,
right?
But
and that's how I joined Kotak.
But Destiny. It's a very interesting lesson. When you wind the clock forward today, a lot of young professionals are taking the chance. Maybe they work for some years, but they become an entrepreneur. Maybe they come out of college and straight away become an entrepreneur, and essentially stake everything that they had, which is what you did 30 years ago when becoming an entrepreneur or taking this leap of faith from probably the most aspirational job, which is a job in a foreign bank at that point in time,
Yes.
to something which is
Unknown.
completely, like you say,
Unknown.
3 desks and 3 chairs and a desk kind of place. That's an extremely bold decision, and just goes back to what you're saying. You're a rebel. You decided to do what your heart told you. But more than that, apart from the fact that, what was that gut feeling that you got that made you make that decision?
I just saw the hunger and the ambition. And here I was, ambitious, hungry for learning, hungry for work. And I saw a hunger and an ambition, which probably what took, and I actually call it risk taking. South Indians are very conservative.
Yeah.
But I don't know what made me take that risk. It's just that, and I think I just thank my stars that I took that risk. The first 10 years was fantastic. It was really entrepreneurial. And it's just that you have to take decisions and follow your gut sometimes. Right? You have to. My mind said no. My gut told me go. And I went.
So let's look at the first 5-6 years when this was a small startup company. Pretty much, I guess, you and Uday and everybody else, whoever was there, must be doing everything from, printing stuff to ordering telephones to whatever it may have been. So what was it like in that initial 5-year period when you sort of went with your gut and that hunger?
Wonderful, actually, because I was everything. Today we are a large bank. In those days, I was the business head, I was the operations head, I was the risk head, I was the HR head, I was a peon, I was
young entrepreneurs who are building
treasury.
new businesses, listen to that.
Yeah, I was treasury, all decisions end to end with me. I didn't have a credit department, operations department, treasury department, risk department, compliance department. No, niet, ille. You are accountable end to end. And the level of responsibility that you take is very different when you have so many of these support functions around you. That is true entrepreneurship, from peon to boss. And you must be willing to dirty your fingernails in almost everything. I used to run to the banks, I used to run if there was a problem, run to clients, street fight. I was actually known as a street fight. Bill Squeen used to be my name in those days because that was the product that we were in. But ultimately, Srini, it was such fun because you were responsible. You had a white canvas. You could paint whatever you wanted, right? And every evening they'd say, "Acha, aaj kitna paisa banaya?" That ledger over Save Puri we would see, right? That's all. And he just gave complete autonomy. Now that's the kind of thing. It was really a professional entrepreneurship journey. I can tell you, I would not even have got a fraction of that exposure had I joined a large bank or a large organization. This is very valuable. And I tell everyone, in your initial period, please join a startup. It teaches you something.
Fantastic. And the good news is that at least now, larger companies, like we are now a large company, but other companies are understanding the value of somebody who may have gone to a startup, whether he did or she did well, doesn't matter, but the experience is something that is far more valuable as they become more mature professionals going forward.
Absolutely.
Now, let's come to the next phase of your career. Obviously, the company got listed, different kinds of businesses got built out. And you started out, as you said, first in a foreign bank, and then right from peon to master of ceremonies in a small startup company. And then, along with the ambition of Uday and your own personal ambition, there were different parts of financial services that the firm decided to build. And every few years, you were reinventing yourself, getting out of your comfort zone. Tell us a few things about why you did that and what made you do that.
So very interesting. I want to tell you about the first phase. Within 3 years of my joining, I think 94 or 2.5, 3 years or less than that, RBI came out with a guideline that NBFCs cannot rediscount to banks. The business model was done, over. So I asked Uday, so shall I now find
It's
another
like somebody
job?
pulling the rug under your foot.
Yeah, that's right. You had to take the capital, and we didn't have so much capital those days, nothing. He says, no, capital market.
And private equity that people get so easily nowadays was non-existent.
There
in
was
those
no
days.
capital. Nobody could support you if you die. You died. Okay? That's why risk was so important. So he said, no, capital markets are open up. Go figure, something called FIIs are coming in. Figure where we can build a business model. Now, I didn't know what capital markets was, nothing. So I started attending Euro Money conference, this conference, that conference, and started learning what is capital markets. And that's where we met Goldman Sachs. And we started, understanding what capital markets was. I still remember we were invited in 1994, and Uday and I were invited to a Euro Money conference in New York. So we decided to go to New York. And we went to New York, and I made the presentation, and before all, these powerhouses, etc. I had no clue, but I made a presentation on India, which was easy. Thereafter, we were walking down Wall Street, and we saw Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan. And we were having a pizza down, and they said, "Ek din aisa bhi building hamara business district mein hoga." And I'm happy to say we have 2 buildings in BKC and 1 building in Goregaon. But that was the ambition. That was the statement he made. We will have aisa building in our business district.
Ambition and
and
such
vision,
a long-term vision.
right?
Yeah.
So capital markets was wonderful, and then they used to issue GDRs, and we joined hands with Goldman Sachs, and we swept 70% of the market. We got a share of it and fees, and we were happy. Then we formed a JV, and we went in. So it's amazing how we got into the business without really knowing what the potential was. But we just changed everything by 99-2000 when we brought in the book building. That experience again of building.
I remember that because I was reporting into you, and we were working on that first ever book build transaction.
Yes. So you know how much of a hurdle we faced. And we never had all these fancy technologies, etc. Today, everything was manual and hard work. But we still fought on the street. Everybody disowned us. The 3 big guys just told us, useless. Kotak is useless. And we didn't know what it was, but we fought and we made it. And when that huge software IPO became successful and we moved number 1 onto the league tables, I can't tell you what a high it was at 4 o'clock that morning when we broke the shut.
I
think these moments are invaluable. I don't think anybody would, these kind of experiences are different when you completely game change. Then we started getting bigger. And we said we need a platform for customers, and we got a banking license, and I was said, okay, go work, build the wholesale bank. So I did about 10 years of that. Then I was told, okay, go, you're not a banker
so
unless you get...
Just let me stop you there. Investment banking, which was all deal making, dog-eat-dog world, you miss a deal.
Street fighting.
Yeah, you miss a deal, it's in the bloody papers the next morning that, okay, you lost the deal and XYZ banks have been appointed. Now, you get thrown out of that, or you sort of opt out of something which you are on a high, and then when you get a banking license, you say, okay, I'm going to start all over again to build a wholesale banking business which we did not have. Why did you do that? I mean, you could have continued in investment banking. There are folks out there even today who of your vintage still continuing in investment banking.
So, I had 2 choices. I could have dug my heels in. Second is, I said, let me go learn. Because by then, I had been there, done that. We had that high. We did 2 highs that year, Hughes Software and the Lafarge deal, the first largest cement M&A. And I said, okay, I've been there, done that. Let me try something new. And it started all over again down to earth with interviewing 200 people a week, appointing this head, that head, etc. And remember, I was covering CEOs. I moved to covering CFOs. Of course, I built a team. And for the first 5 years, because we didn't have the liabilities, business model was entrepreneurship. Make money any which how. IPOs, escrow banker, we invented so many new things, started custody, which we wouldn't have done but for the desperation to make sure you stayed afloat and made money. So there was a lot of entrepreneurship. But it was just something in me that made me take the risk. It was risk-taking, Srini. At that time, it was cool because we'd reached number 1 position. Very cool to be where you are, and I could have been an investment banker.
Absolutely.
But I think the size of what we have...
But to go and leave that and start something on your own, to build something from scratch.
Risk-taking and get out of your comfort zone. Can I do it?
As a recent serial used to say, risk hai to ishq hai.
Yes. So that's how I just followed him. And the rest is history. And the next phase was...
There's one more jump one more out of comfort zone that you had.
Yes.
One fine day, suddenly you found yourself that you're no longer going to be doing wholesale banking. You're now going to be doing retail banking. So what was that about and how did that happen?
So December of 13, they called and said, I kept telling him in the last 2 years to say, I can do anything. Give me some challenge. Give me some challenge. So then he called me in December and said, you keep saying this, right? Now go run the consumer bank. I'm swapping. The Onion was consumer bank. I said, huh? I don't know what retail is. I'm a wholesale banker. You can't ask me to run
All your
retail.
life, that's what you've done in some shape or form.
All. He said, no. You want to learn? Go learn. I mean, you will be able to manage. You have to manage. Sink or swim. And he said, 1 week I'm giving you to give me a decision and you cannot talk to anybody. You have to take that decision. So I said, oh God, this is a problem. Then my gut. I said, let's go. What will happen? I'll sink now. We'll find something to do. And then digital was opening up. And that year I joined, the funny lesson was, I started in May 14. And in November, we announced the merger with ING Vysya Bank. And all that I was advising in investment banking to customers, merger is about culture, it's about people, it's about processes, and I had to implement. I said, oh God, what a difference between advisory and implementation.
Exactly. It's easy to give advice and walk away. To do it is a different ballgame.
8 years was fun. I think I have to thank for that experience because consumer is deep. Consumer is unlimited opportunity. I'm repeating, unlimited opportunity.
You know, the passion with which you talk about consumer banking and the passion with which you talked about your career in wholesale banking, investment banking, I can't think of very many professionals in India who perhaps could have done every aspect of financial services in the position that you are in. And in that sense, you are a professional with a very, very unique and rounded, professional career. And I can't think of very many other examples, which comes to the next question. As a woman, as a leader, which you have emerged over the last 30 odd years, I want to break up again go back in time, break up your life as a young woman professional when you were starting in financial services. Even today, there are not enough women professionals in financial services,
True.
right? When you started, it was even more scarce,
True.
right? So what was the experience at that time? And then when you transitioned into investment banking, which is another man's dog-eat-dog world, I want you to talk about what was it like to be that woman who is sort of leading the charge, breaking the glass ceiling in these two aspects, and what lessons can you give to the younger women who we wish as a firm more of them come into this financial services?
I think first and foremost, you must aspire. And I think if I were to tell the young girls and even the middle women who are, sort of 10 years into your career, you must have ambition and aspire. And you must get out of your comfort zone, as you said. Second, you need to do what the job takes. If you have to work 18 hours a day, so be it. If you have to travel, you have to travel. You have to meet deadlines, you have to meet deadlines. I think, Srini, 3 things are important. Yes, you need to have the confidence. Competence is gender agnostic. You got to be competent. And third, you have to deliver. I think at no stage, Srini, did I feel I was a woman and thus at an advantage. Maybe I should compliment the firm and Uday and the leaders who never made me feel that I was a different individual from them. I ran alongside. I did what was needed. I would travel 20 hours, come back and, go around the world and come back, whatever it needed. So I think that's very important. And you must get out of your comfort zone. Second, this is a lighter moment. In investment banking, I used to say, I have an advantage. If 5 of us make a pitch and I'm the only woman head who's making a pitch, who will the company remember?
I agree with you.
Right? And
Yeah.
especially with the confidence and the passion with which
Confidence,
if I pitch,
passion and charm.
Yeah, that I pitch. I said, who will the company remember?
Okay.
So this was a lighter moment. But I think you have to be professional. I think very important is complete professionalism, absolute competence, and you must be confident and if the job takes it. And if you find that's not your calling, be honest about it and move on to something.
Did you also have moments where you had to have a thick skin?
Very. Let me tell you, it's not that I have not had issues as a woman. I've had people with approaches, propositions. I'll give you business if you have dinner with me. You got to know how to deal with this, right? You just have to, tell
You can't be
boss,
oversensitive
I don't
about
cover.
it, but you just have to be professionally able to deal
That's
with it.
right. You just have to professionally handle it.
Do organizations need to invest in training women to anticipate some of these things? Are organizations
I think
doing
so. See, we focus the training on functional, on behavioral, on relationship. But I don't think we train people to say, what if somebody propositions while you are going out for a business call? And I think it's important. For me, it was instinctive how to handle it, right? But how do you professionally handle it and don't jeopardize the overall relationship? I think you need some lessons. Absolutely, yes. Absolutely, yes.
I think, some of the experiences and lessons that you have learned, and I'm sure other professionals like you, it's something that maybe we should think about doing that.
Yeah.
And train
the only
younger
good part was
professionals.
internally, our organization was clean. I didn't have any issue. That's, I was really lucky. Kotak has been a wonderful, clean place with no such this thing.
No, I think that's...
But externally, these things are quite common.
No, I agree with you, having been there for 30 years. I mean, apart from you, we have had, and we still have, so many senior women leaders, and it tells the world something about how we treat all aspirants who are competent on a similar footing. But let me ask you, such a hard-charging career, such a hard-working career, did you have to make any adjustments, compromises in your personal life?
Answer is yes. I'm still single. But that was a choice I made because I couldn't meet anybody who, I was advancing so fast in my career that I left all my colleagues behind.
None of the guys of your age wanted to get married to a very successful woman.
And I can tell you that nobody wanted their potential wife to earn more than them or be more successful. That was the zamana.
I don't think the society has changed
materially. At that
materially.
time, I don't know about that now. I think now maybe yes, but in those days it was not. And then finally I said, listen, if my career is going, let me follow.
And I remember your mom very passionate about it, saying that, look, Shanti is the son that I didn't have, right?
So that is important, Srini, is that your family supports. Both my parents, my father and mother, I mean, they are conservative South Indians. My father is. But he said, this is what it is, fine. We'll support you. And they've been my sheet anchors, my sister, of course, and now her children and everybody. But those are the compromises. And if there is one regret I have now, is not getting married or not having kids or adopting kids. I think it's, again, not the done thing in those days.
Yeah, it's, again,
yeah.
You would have been a pioneer in that too.
Surrogacy or whatever in those days, I would have been a pioneer. Maybe I missed using that as a pioneer. But it just felt unfair that I had such a busy career, and if I bring a child and give it to my mom again, I'm just loading my parents.
Yeah.
So that's the one regret.
But then I must thank you for that compromise, because we got more of Shanti. And we, the firm, and people like us and many others worked with you, professionally gained that much more, because we got more of you. Shanti, you've now come to a position where you're calling it a day through probably the most fascinating journey that I have seen of a professional career in financial services, where you chose to be in without really knowing what really held for you. And both of us are products of an era where the financial services happened because India happened, right? What next?
First, I have to get Kotak out of me, because I have no time to think. But I'm very clear, I want what I want to do. And there are 2-3 parts to it. First part, I certainly want to use my experience to do more strategic work. Currently, I'm still running executive, P&L, etc. But I want to now sort of move to more strategic work. In fact, somebody asked me, what are you looking for? I said, I'm looking for the Kotak of 89, 90. In those days, I gave it my blood, sweat and tears. Today, I want to give that firm capital and my experience to help it grow and create value. So I want to...
You're going to be one of the most sought after angel investors.
So I'd say just above angel, but I want to look for companies where I can add value. That's one. Second, of course, I have ambition of 2-3 very large, very high quality boards. Very large companies where again, it's more to learn, a multinational, etc. So that's one part. But certainly the investment part, finding companies where I can add both capital and value, and use my experience. Very large or even some new age companies where I can add value, which are large but again seeking value. I'd like to bring my experience to the table. So that's one part of it. Second part of it is I do want to now relax and have fun. I've already signed up for music classes. On Vijay Dashmi Day, Dashera, I'm starting my singing classes.
Fantastic.
Right? It's been a passion for a long time, but no time. So I've already signed up, and from Vijay Dashmi Day, I will start singing classes. Well, I used to love dancing, but I can't start classical dancing at this age. I have to test my knees and back. But certainly singing. Second, I do want to travel. Within India, my own state, Tamil Nadu, I have not seen other than Chennai. Temples of Tamil Nadu, I want to plan in the next 2-3 months. And the third, I've always had a part of me in philanthropy. It starts at home. My sister's full-time into it. And I do want to see what we can do for upliftment of women and children. It's in 3 parts. So I think the next 10 years, I'd like to have maybe 70% commercial, 30% social. And then maybe if I live to be 10 years later, then the order is.
Shanti is fantastic. Before we close this particular interaction, we did get your guidance and advice for young professionals and women. One of the things that I do in my business is to invest in various companies, entrepreneurs, through the funds that we manage, etc. You've seen it all. You've seen large companies, you've seen small companies, you've seen entrepreneurs grow from nowhere to where they are today. I heard you talking about millions of dollars being invested by some investor into some IPO and so on and so forth. India is now going through a revolution in entrepreneurship. What specific advice would you give to an entrepreneur in general and be a woman entrepreneur?
So first, as far as, and I'm taking lessons from my own instinct that has led me down this path. I think it's all about 2 key things. The set of promoter or the entrepreneur and their ambition and passion. And second, it's about governance. I think what I saw in 1990 when, they made this offer was the ambition and the passion and wanting to be successful. Right place at the right time, because India happened, financial services happened, Kotak happened, we happened. So it's that link. But you need to look for the industry, the individual, their passion and commitment, and the governance, how clean they are. I think a lot of companies, you can go wrong because of intent or ability. Ability is an external ecosystem. Intent is a killer, and you cannot go wrong. So I think this is what is important. That you must look at the sector, industry, the position, the individual, and their willingness to stretch their ability to think, and the entrepreneur, the passion. And third is governance. Do they come across as clean? At the very early stage, you can't make out governance. It comes over a period of time. Many ways it is instinctive and gut. When you choose entrepreneurs, I can tell you, you have to go by your instinct and gut. But when you meet 500 people, it's very difficult. But sometimes, I say this, very difficult lending transaction, I meet a promoter and look him in the eye. And I think I can instinctively make out, yes, no. It's an experience. Right?
Fantastic.
And on the woman entrepreneur, I think there are 2 things that are important. They are not as confident even today as their male counterparts. And you just have to look at the track record of funding, which is private equity, to women versus men. And you will find that there's a difference. And somewhere you have to look for that golden touch in terms of their ability, but they may lack the confidence to present. So you have to go a little deeper and see that. And I can tell you, you can talk to some of the successful women entrepreneurs, and behind every one of them, there lies a team. And I've spoken to many of them, and they say it's very different when you're going there asking for funds. And that's where I'd like industry to change and say, give them a chance.
Shanti, it's been fantastic. First of all, working with you over the last 30 years, and I always enjoyed chatting with you. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to bring out Shanti, the friend, the professional, the individual. And I would say you guys better look out, because she's going to start traveling. So you might have Shanti, the blogger with 1 million followers, travel blogger, or you might have Shanti, the singer. But whatever you do, Shanti, the very best for you. And I do hope you continue to inspire many more professionals, both within the firm and outside.
Thank you, Srini. I thoroughly enjoyed this talk. As always, it's great when we chat. Today we talked about all this. Otherwise, our favorite topic, food, is remaining.
Exactly.
We will continue this after the podcast.
We will do that after.